Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I'm coming at you with another one of my spaceship videos, and this is a review. This is the second pass on the Retaliator. There's a lot of new information that just recently came out about the Retaliator, so what I wanted to do was update you and refresh you on the changes and the differences between the old Retaliator that we just saw in concept, and then now the newer Retaliator. I say newer because it's still not released yet, from Foundry 42. So let's take a look at some of the stats. And as you know, the Retaliator is a long-range bomber, and the Retaliator that you can purchase is actually the civilian refit, where they take torpedo tubes out and they replace it with a larger cargo area. So if you wanted to refit it back, or retrofit it I should say, you could do that. But right now it's 70 meters long, 65,100 kilograms. It has a max crew of 8, and it has a cargo capacity of 720 freight units, which is quite a bit. Compare that to the Freelancer or the Constellation, and you might be surprised. Alright, its primary engines, it has 10 TR5 primary engines, which is kind of a unique setup in that they're articulating for vertical takeoff and landing. It also has 8 Aegis Dynamics Winnowing E2 maneuvering thrusters. These are TR2s. And of course the power plant is a Tyler Design D-Tech G33, which is a size 5 power plant that can accept a size 6. It also has a Yorm Dual Guardian size 5 shield. It does have the capability of having a size 6. And of course it has one additional size 1 slot for additional equipment. Well, that is basically the technical overview. So now let's look at what you really care about and what it looks like. Alright, now what we're going to do is take a walk around from the outside of the ship. As you can see, the landing gear is very beefy and very sturdy, and you can see the engines, how they've been turned vertical to do the vertical takeoff and landing. And the bomb bay door is open so that you can see the torpedoes. And over here you can actually see the elevator extended to the ground so that you can board the ship. Now looking at the bridge, or I should say the cockpit, which you can kind of see a size comparison with the person, but you also see that they say they're following further feedback from the forums, so they're actually listening, making additional work on the bridge. Now looking at this cockpit and you're seeing through the windows, it looks like they have an incomplete cockpit here. I think it's just taken out for these snapshots. Looking underneath the nose from the ground, looking up, it does have that very beak-like form. Additional curves cut into it make for more interesting lighting. So basically they've added some additional cuts, mainly just for looks. And from a distance, this is the full picture of it. You can see the engines are facing downward. That doesn't count the 2 main thrusters that are back here that would be the main engines. But this is the cockpit. It hits the ground and then has like a nose that sticks out. I'm not sure if I like that. I preferred the whole thing that was just smooth across like that, but now it's kind of this and then a beak. I'm not sure if I like that. A lot of people do like that, so they're just taking it from the forums. And of course in this picture they do not have the turrets. They have not finished making the turrets, but you would have seen a couple of turrets here, maybe a turret here, and then a couple underneath here too. And then still walking around the ship, you look and you can see, and of course they always add someone as size comparison, but you can see the beefy landing gear. You can actually see the retractable elevators down so that you can board the ship. The door to the cargo hold is open, the wings extended. It has that very bird-like look, and then you have these vertical engines right here that provide your primary propulsion. But once these landing engines are turned horizontal, it's going to provide you additional thrust. So it's kind of like a Harrier or something like that, if you know what I mean. All right, let's get a little closer to the landing gear so you can kind of take a look at some of the details. Look at the wiring, the pipes, and the hydraulics, and how thick they are. The lighting areas, like the hydraulic cables and tubing and electronics. It looks really good. And then if you take a look at the rear landing gear, they've made them very thick, beefy landing skids. They look like they could actually hold up the ship, unlike the earlier ones that look just like little beam poles. Getting in there, in between the landing gear, you can actually look up into the cargo hold, and you can see that this is the military version, obviously, and there's 2 torpedoes that you can see, but actually there's 4. There's a spinner rack on the left and right, and each one has 2 torpedoes. So that's a total of 4 torpedoes in this bay area. Now you'll see a door there, but there's a door on both ends. So when the cargo hold is closed, you can actually walk in there, and you can walk from side to side. Just don't be in there when they open it up, you know what I mean? Then if you look at the top, you can see that look at the details that they've included on the surface. Just the pipes, the tubes, greebling, I guess is what they call it. Yeah, I'm not sure if any of this is usable, but it looks like there's a hatch there. I don't know if it's your entry and exit hatch. It could very well be. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to take some pictures of the exterior and read basically what they're saying. Like right here, the turret positions, the central spline line of the ship has had additional detail added. The exterior, the lighting remains smooth, and there's of course the docking ring. And this is the aft area of the ship. The turret position, lower rear, the docking ring, of course. The wings now pivot correctly without intersecting, so they don't, because these are folding wings, like a B-1. And it shows you where the 3 turrets would be. There. And it's just not there yet. And they made the areas around the wing mechanisms a little bit thicker to house it. And they still plan to put shaders and decals on this thing. And this is a picture without the torpedoes being loaded. It kind of gives you the idea that these cranes could lower and maybe pick up a torpedo, or that something could lift the torpedo up and fill those spots. And the door's open, as you can see there. And let's talk about the nose here a little bit. I mean, you can pause and read this, but it's a rework. It's still in progress. Of course, the whole ship's really still in progress. But instead of a cone, they've gone to like a beak. They did have to make the whole thing a little bit wider and larger to accommodate the fact that people have to be able to walk on the side of it and things like that. So, all right, now from the inside, what we're going to do is we're going to start at the front of the ship. We're going to work our way to the rear. So, understand that we're standing in the cockpit, and then we are going to be walking aft. Like we're going to be working our way back from the front. Now, the very first thing you would see in the front, of course, would be the cockpit. That looks like it's got a seat that would actually turn around. Once you sat in it, it would spin, a lot like maybe the 300i. Well, we'll see. This is the original early concept art of the bridge, or the cockpit. Okay, when walking back, you're going to see your elevators to the left and right. You're also going to see the docking collars above and below. And then you're going to have the access hallways door hatches to the left and right. Yeah, before we continue going to the rear, what I want to do is go up into the second deck. The second deck is very narrow and claustrophobic, but what you'll see on the left and right is your sleeping quarters. And of course windows, so you can see the sky and the space and things like that. What are these loose pipes? I don't know. Okay, after coming back down, you're going to see the door on the right there would lead to the bridge. And the door on the left, just to the left of it, hidden in the shadows there, that actually leads to the left and right torpedo rooms. There's 2 smaller compartments that in like the original Retaliator you would have seen the captain's quarters. Would be in one of those. And the other side would just be additional missiles. With the doors in the far left, that is actually one of the two doors leading to the engine room and the main missile bay, and the rear turrets. So again, this would be a picture showing the door leading to the bridge, and then the two side, well, one side door that you can see, that leads to your side torpedo tubes. And you can see how they've made them kind of bulky and really very sturdy looking. You also have these limited fold-away lights, which is pretty cool. So when you first come in to the central area through the elevators, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see the captain's quarters or the bridge to the right, and you're going to see the torpedo tubes off to the left there with your docking collars. So here's the look to the rear again, and we're going to go ahead and take the path on the right and step on back past the torpedo tube so you can see what you see. So when you come through the door immediately to your right in the foreground, that steps you into this hallway here with air vents and another door that leads to that other torpedo bay or missile bay. And then as you step back away from it, and I'm kind of remember walking away from, I'm walking backwards away from the front. So I'm looking to the front but stepping back. I'm getting my distance. Off to the right, you can see the main torpedo chamber cargo hold, and you can see the detail on the hulls and the lighting. This is cool. Now this is the other side, looking with the torpedoes actually visible. And this was another one of the gray box pictures where they show, you know, the lighting, everything's white. And they're showing you like maintenance hatches and things like this. Very cool. Now, if you were to step inside the torpedo tube room, this is what you would see. See, there's a docking, there's a clamp here for a second missile, and there's a clamp here for the primary missile. So you're looking at maybe one here, one there. There's what it looks like with the missile on there, or the torpedo. Hatch is closed, and you're inside the cargo hold. They even did a cutaway of the hallways, so you can kind of see the concept of how they were to put everything together. You know how they need lighting and air venting and heat pipes and coolant pipes. They needed atmosphere. You also needed toolboxes, and they thought a lot of things. And then they got the liquid drip panels down there at the bottom, and there's quite a bit of handholds for zero-G combat. And here's a comparison of the old tunnel that led to the aft gun. Now this is the new one. And I do believe that this is a picture of one of the turret's chairs. But I'm not sure. Now we have some cutaway looks. I want to make sure you kind of get a feel for the whole ship all at once. Looking at this image here, you can actually see the front of the ship is to the right. You've got the upstairs visible, where you can do the where your personal sleeping quarters are at, and then you can also see the elevators flanking the central airlocks, and then the hatches that lead to the passageways that go to the rear of the ship. But immediately before you get to the cargo hold or the torpedo tube, you have a door that leads into an engineering or bomb control area. Totally cool. I'm digging it. The next bit is like it shows you where the where your sleeping quarters are, as opposed to further forward. That would be to the right. That would be the observation deck and also a turret. Now from underneath, you can kind of see the ship. So you've got the extended elevators, you have the landing gear down, you have the cargo hold open in the back, with the torpedo tubes. But remember, there's left and right cargo holds here too, which is where like a missile bay would be, or a captain's quarters would be on the left side, close to the bridge. Plus, remember, there's going to be turrets underneath also. So taking a look at this old picture of the Retaliator, this is totally not the way it's going to be anymore. The bridge, yes, will be there. The passageway back, yes, it'll be there. Will there be like a passage on the left and right that gets you into the left and right missile tubes? Yes. Is there going to be a central like entry hallway room? Yes. Will there be doors kind of leading off at an angle leading back to the turrets? Yes. Will there be a big Bombay door and an engineering room right there? Absolutely. But they've taken the escape pods or the Habby Cube areas that are right here, and they put them upstairs in the second level, and then who knows where the bathrooms are at. But other than that, I think they just like widened it a little bit to make it fatter a little bit. They've taken this angle here and kind of made that a little bit more shallow. A little bit more shallow. They've made this wider over here. So yeah, it's definitely coming together really good. Can't wait to have it in my hangar. Alright guys, well thanks for coming out and checking out this video, and remember, this is still a work in progress, and you know, I already own a Retaliator and I'm just waiting for it to show up in my hangar. So when it does, I'm sure I'll give you an in-person live walkthrough of the Retaliator. But until then, I'll see you in the verse.